But a lot of people, that's their story. Good times, Noodle Salad.
Yeah. Okay. So that was the fifth time that we started over.
Yeah, we're just trying things out. We're trying something new with multiple cameras and, making it work and not having to download a ton of software to make it happen.
Dude, that was annoying. I'm glad you caught that, but
Right.
So we downloaded a software to be able to use a phone as a webcam, streamed into a software and then recorded, and it stopped at 10 minutes. And it's like, oh, if you want to record more than 10 minutes, you got to pay.
Right.
Fucking douchebags.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. I'm glad you caught that, though, because I would have been pissed to find out that,
Right.
just had a view of me for the entire podcast and not of you. Okay, so to reset and start back at the top, we took like a 2-3 week hiatus from recording for the holidays. Bunch of shit changed. We have a new set, which you can see. We got a new set. We're recording in a new spot. I mean, we had the holidays with the kids, and bunch of changes. I got engaged, dude. It's crazy.
That's awesome, man.
It's crazy. I never thought I would get engaged. So to get engaged is pretty crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. I'm happy for you, though. I think your guys' relationship is fantastic. I really do.
Yeah, she's the best, dude.
Yeah. She's cool. I like her a lot, man. She's cool. So that's exciting, man. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for both of you. I'm excited for your kids, too, because she's good with the kids, and that's important.
Great. She's great with the kids. I'm really fortunate with that. I mean, I don't know any other... I mean, I don't know any person who could go from having no kids to jumping in a relationship with a guy with 3 kids and do as well as she has.
Yeah, it's amazing.
She's like a natural parent, and she's...
Yeah.
She loves... I mean, dude, when my kids go to bed, they all say, all right, good night, Paige, love you. Good night, Dad, love you.
That's cute.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, to go from not knowing what the hell is going to happen next in my life and being in chaos, and then meeting Paige, and then everything settles in. It's more stable than it's ever been. It's pretty wild. It's crazy to go to that, but
it's nice to have that stability, because then now you can focus on real shit.
Yeah.
It's I think the biggest reason people get stuck in this weird rut in life is because when you're so focused on, I don't know, maybe toxic stuff, or you're in a toxic environment, how can you focus on normal life and building a life together? You can't.
Yeah.
There's no way to do it. There's no way to do it. You have to move on, I've had to do it many times. I've definitely dated people that are just not on the same wavelength as me, which is my own fault. I knew that going into it. And I think I get a lot of flack for that from everybody. They're like, why would you do that? You know better. But I'm like, well, if you have feelings for someone and, it's reciprocated to some extent, you're just like, well, we could try it out.
People, I mean, everyone's got opinions about what everyone else is doing, and most of the time the people that have the strongest opinions have the most chaotic lives.
100%.
So who cares? I mean, you just got to make decisions that make sense for you, you know? So
yeah, it's about self-management. But it's weird because I feel like I've gotten I don't want to say specific conversations, because it really isn't that, but I've definitely gotten the hint that some people, friends, family and stuff, have this weird understanding that I have a hard time managing my own life. But it's if you only knew how much stuff I've worked through, right? Personal stuff, mental stuff, job related stuff, I'm managing it pretty damn good, you know, down to the penny, down to the thought, down to the, and it's not all calculated. I'm just saying people have a weird idea of what self-management is. They don't self-management is all right, I'm not going to go insane and then have to be taken care of. That's self-management. What are you talking about? As a single guy, I don't have 2 incomes. I don't have 2 heads thinking about stuff. It's just me. I'm the one thinking about everything. I'm the one delegating my own life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's interesting. I want to change that though. I'm hoping this is my year where I find someone that's solid. I've been talking to some people that are. I don't know if I'm just putting out different. I don't want to say energy, but just a different vibe. But I'm definitely attracting like normal people for once, and it's obviously something I'm doing, some way I'm carrying myself.
We've talked about that before, where it's like, if you're in a chaotic headspace, you're gonna attract chaos, and then like we just had this conversation the other day, or not the other day, maybe a couple weeks ago on the phone.
Yeah.
Where I was like, dude, when you get yourself into a spot where you're stable, and the dust has settled, and like you're just living your life.
Yeah.
And now you're gonna find people that attract to that lifestyle.
Right.
You know, the same way like we talked about. At one point we were talking about like how do you meet girls? Like where do you go?
Yeah.
You know, and I talked about like if you want to meet someone who isn't like a bar whore, don't go to the bar.
Yeah.
You know, and then like
I mean you can meet normal people there too. It's not,
whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. But if you want to
family members that met in bars that are doing just fine. But that's a rare occasion.
That's not the point. The point is if you want to meet somebody that is matching a lifestyle that you want to have, you need to be living that life.
You need to find them in that lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's why we talked about, like, why don't you join, like, a co-ed sport?
Yeah.
You know, or,
I don't
like,
have time for all that,
go to the gym, or, I mean, what?
Yeah.
You could if you wanted to. But, you know, but to meet them outside of, could, I mean, you could. If that was a priority, you could. If you were like, this is the thing that's important to me. But if it's not, then you're not. Okay,
I mean,
well, that's fine. But
I mean, like,
it was just it was a spitball idea. Like, dude, if you want to meet a girl who's focused on health and fitness and like is well adjusted in that sense, then you need to be living that life, and that's where you need to meet her, because you're not going to meet her at a shitty bar in a shitty town full of shitty people. I mean, it's just not where it's not where you're going to meet a wife.
For sure.
You know, and that's not that I'm preaching at you. It's just this is the conversation we had. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean we've all done it. I mean, you had your fun in the bars too. I mean,
for sure. And I wouldn't.
Mom did. I mean, the whole family has.
Yeah, but I definitely would not have married any of the girls that I met.
100%.
And then I met like Paige, and it's like, dude, it's such a totally.
I mean, the last person I was engaged to, I met on eHarmony, and she was the worst person I ever dated. Like, she was great for, 2 months and then turned into a nightmare.
Well, yeah. Well, she's a narcissist.
Something. I don't know. I can't even place
what's the right word? I mean, she acted. She's a chameleon. She
borderline personality disorder.
No, that's so rare, and people overuse that.
Yeah,
actual borderline personality disorder is rare.
I don't know.
People overuse it. What she is, without putting, like, psychology titles on it, is that she's a chameleon. Yeah. And she understood what you wanted and pretended to be that. Yeah. Until the gig was up. What's that saying? Not the gig. The whatever.
She lives by the principle of fake it till you make it, and that's exactly what she did with me, and she did with every job. Like I think the work she did for a living was even like she had really no experience. She just would literally go into a place and be like, and then like make a ton of money because she just like knew what to say. She's just a master manipulator. Yeah. Which good for her for as far as making money, but in a relationship that's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
No, it was brutal.
And to be honest, I wasn't in a proper headspace to be like totally taking on that big of a venture. Because like she was difficult. She had a lot of problems. She had, a family with someone who had a ton of problems, who was just an absolute nightmare to even deal with, even on the outside. Yeah. Looking in.
But that's what we talked about is, I mean, not to get into her details, but to what we talked about is you have to get yourself to a place where you want to be to meet somebody that fits into the life that you want to have. Now, if you're in a headspace that doesn't make sense, or you're in a headspace that's not healthy, and then you meet somebody that fits into that unhealthy headspace, that's not going to be a good person for you. That's when
Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. It felt really. She just. I don't know. I don't want to.
Not that it was your fault.
Yeah. Because I don't think I saw the.
To being manipulated or whatever.
I didn't see the other side until it was like, all right, we're like, and until it was almost too late, really.
Yeah.
And then it was like, all right, well, how can we fix this?
In fact, she had manipulated you to the point where you were in complete denial. I mean, it was pretty hard to like. I don't know. I could have gone about what I was telling you in a nicer way, and maybe it would have been, that whole situation would have resolved differently. But I got to the point where I was just being a dick about it. Like, no, she's full of shit. She's fucking lying.
Yeah.
But I think I had to. I don't know. Looking back, I think I had to get to that point because she was saying extreme, like, I don't want to give out too many details about that whole situation, but basically what it boils down to is she would say the most extreme things that could happen in a relationship happened, and it was a lie.
Right. Yeah.
And then you would be reacting to it, going like, "Dude, do you think this really happened? Look at what I'm doing to her." And I'd be like, "You didn't do anything." Right. She's lying. What did you do? You tried to break up with a person who's been using you. Yeah. And then I started being a dick about it. I would send like a picture of a nice truck and be like, "This is you," and then I would send a picture of like a falling apart piece of shit trailer, and I'd be like, "This is her."
Yeah,
I mean, her hitching her wagon.
I'll be honest with you. I think, I don't know, maybe I'm a fool for saying this, but I think when you're just not the person for someone, like, they're gonna take advantage of the things that you can provide. So I wasn't the person for her. I'm sure. I mean, she's got a full life now. Like, everything's solid for her. I don't know. I don't really know the details, but I would imagine that had I been somebody that she would have respected, it would have been a different story. And because not all people are just blatantly dark and evil and messed up in the head all the time. I think it's just we didn't bring out the best in each other.
Dude, me and my ex definitely brought out the worst in each other.
Yeah.
I mean, we became like monsters to each other. Right. And it's not even who I am naturally is not that person at all. Like, sometimes I'm just like, fucking stop inconveniencing me. Like, that's when I start being a dick. That's when I start being fucking totally miserable to somebody. It's like, dude, come on. Right. Like, can I just let the dust settle and let me think about me for once? Like, fuck sake, you know? But I don't know. I mean, we talked about this on the phone the other day where it was like, I don't know. I mean, maybe like who I was as a person made my ex behave the way that she was.
100%.
Or
it's a two-way street, always.
It's a two-way street. I mean, she is who she is. Yeah. Right. And when you're in a relationship with somebody that's like not controllable and doesn't line up with you morally at all of a sudden you're like, all right, I'm going to become controlling so that I can make you someone who I would want you to be. Yeah. Like, I'm not okay with cheating, and I'm not okay with you, like, doing all the things that you were doing. Yeah. But does that mean that she's inherently bad? Like, I don't know if that means that she's inherently bad or if we just didn't line up. I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of... to make me feel better about the situation, I'd like to say it's that she's inherently bad, and she doesn't care about people, and she doesn't care about relationships and the sanctity of family and a relationship. But
yeah, I think a lot of it with women is just it's some sort of developed survival mechanism that they think is useful. Because I even think about some people in my past, and I go, I totally get it. Like, in hindsight, I'm like, I totally understand why they were acting the way they were. Given if any part of their past was true at all, it makes 100%. It's hard to handle someone who is going to be there for you without pushing their buttons and finding out the darker side. I think that's what it is. Like, when someone has been through that, where they've seen the worst of the worst. Now, your situation's different. I'm talking specifically from mine, because that's a whole different, that's a lot of abandonment issues. That's like a lot of how maybe they were raised and stuff, because you guys like dated really young, so that you guys didn't have a life experience of trauma to lead to whatever the hell that was. I mean, to some extent, maybe some childhood shit, but not relationship wise that would lead to what it was. But like, when I look at me and some of the people I've dated, and I'm like, what? Like, I get it because you've been through this and that, and they're still kind of attached to those people, right? They're still somehow emotionally attached to those people, and so they're trying to push your buttons to see, all right, well, how crazy can this guy get? How crazy can I, I mean, and like, to some people, some men, it's like, oh, they're just creating monsters and stuff, and like, to some extent that's true, but I don't think that's the purpose of it. I think it takes some people, well, I don't even say just women. I think people in general require a specific type of person to bring out the best in them. That's all it is. It's really all it boils down to. I mean, we can, pointing the finger, blaming people, or even feeling discontent about my past is like, it's stupid now at this point, because I'm like, I get it. Like, I get it. Like, what you came out of and like some of the shit you've dealt with and maybe how your family was or whatever it might be, it makes sense that you acted the way you did. It's not healthy. Like, if you had help and, some therapy and some understanding of why you have this cognitive behavioral problem, even myself, my anger issues, I'm still an angry guy. Like, I'm trying to hone that in. I'm almost 40 years old, and I'm still not. I still have to have that conversation with people, like, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be like that. I don't know. In any scenario in my life, I've got insane anger, but I'm not crazy either. I'm not violent. I'm just disrespectful when I'm mad. I don't think we all get that way. But I just think, like, and this goes back to, like, this simple stuff, like forgiveness, Forgiveness is not what in this day and age, we've turned all these words and these, like, keywords and these, like, everything's got, like, a real definitive set meaning on when we say these things. But, like, forgiveness for me has nothing to do with, yeah, it's fine. No, it's not fine. It never was fine, and it's not fine now. If I dealt with that shit now, I'd handle it differently, but it's not fine, right? That's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is going, I get it. It's not for me, but I get it. What it means is that you're not putting giving that person, like, so much power that they have this power over you to, like, have this negative impact on you. You're taking that away a little bit, but it's not because for you to have control. You're taking it away to go, there's a middle ground here. There is a gray area where it's like, okay, we both sucked. We both suck. I suck. I suck in a lot of things, and I suck in a lot of social situations and emotional situations for sure. We all have that little piece of us that sucks. What makes a good relationship is understanding that and being okay with that and being mature about it. That's all it is. It's so simple. But we somehow overcomplicate even keywords, forgiveness and pain and suffering, or, whatever, depression. Like, depression's such a stupid depression and narcissism, and, there's all these keywords that just float around like it's...
everyone's got their words that they throw around with
it's
not that much weight to the actual definition.
They don't really know what they're talking about.
Yeah. He's a narcissist. Am I?
Yeah. Or am I just looking out for
myself?
myself?
Are you crossing my boundaries, and now I'm not okay with that, and that bothers you?
Yeah. Or maybe I am a narcissist and I live in my own shell, and I need that shell broken, right? A little bit, in order for me to come out and be, I mean, whatever.
He's abusive. Abusive?
Yeah.
It's abusive. Yeah. I mean, the act of maybe yelling at somebody because you found out they cheated. Screaming at someone, what the fuck's wrong with you? That's abusive. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So is crossing boundaries and disrespecting your partner.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
so
people
not to
forget
justify.
That. People forget that too. People forget that abuse doesn't just, oh, this person's an asshole, or they're mean to me, or they said some things I didn't like. Okay, well, what about the things you did that were absolutely it's saying things and doing things are two different worlds.
Yeah.
The level of disrespect and the level of abuse that comes from, like, an actual physical event where you made a choice that caused severe pain, that is abuse.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying one's better or bigger. There's obviously...
No, one doesn't justify the other.
No.
But if you're trying to understand what happened in hindsight,
yeah,
you have to look at, okay, you know what? Screaming was not okay, but that was coming from a place of wanting to gain back control.
Right.
Because I lost control of my relationship with my ex via her sleeping with other guys.
We
brutal.
also live in a weird world where human emotions are, like, frowned upon. Like, we live in some...
No, I don't think that's true.
I think it is.
I don't
to some
think it's
extent.
true. I mean, that shit's gone.
What do you mean?
from the way that we grew up, you know, looking up
No.
to
Being
Gen X
self-reflective, yes. I'm saying
dudes to
I'm
like,
saying getting mad and saying stuff, and then it's like, oh, you're not gonna.
well, you're
Like,
allowed
no
to
one's
have
allowed
you're
to
allowed to be
vent.
emotional without being abusive.
That's true. I agree with that.
You're allowed to say and confront without being abusive. Like people, you can't justify flipping out and losing control. There's no such thing as losing control. It's being self-indulgent to scream. It's being self-indulgent to throw a fit and flip out and punch a wall or whatever stupid shit that you and I both have done in our pasts. You know, as emotional fucking teenagers or whatever.
Yeah.
In our early 20s, but like I think for the most part, like mental health stuff is going in the right direction. I think maybe it's a little. I think maybe the pendulum has swung too far right now, and it's going to settle back to somewhere where it's reasonable. Because like, I mean, you're seeing like videos of barbers being like, "Is it okay if I touch you?" It's like, fucking dude, cut my hair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so I think it's gone a little too far.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I agree with that because there's some people that have dealt with some abuse in their past that are like, they read way too much into their own abuse. And that's a real thing where it's like they, like any certain, like easily triggered, which is understandable given the circumstances. But it's like, well, if you weren't like in that headspace and you understood like, it's a traumatic and messed up event, but like you're also in this weird headspace of like everything is gonna hurt me. It's like
there's definitely something to be said about
get help
dwelling.
Yeah.
There's definitely something to be said about dwelling. Like sometimes your problem's not that big of a fucking deal.
Yeah, sometimes it is, but even if
sometimes it is, sometimes
there's
it is.
no
for
problem
sure,
that's not solvable.
For sure, there's real
Yeah.
abuse and there's real trauma. For sure, 100%.
Yeah.
People have lived through hell, but also sometimes you think that like going to get help is the move, but then you end up dwelling and finding problems. Like there's been times where I got in an argument with my fiancée, and I'm like, "What is going on? Like, what's not an argument, but like she's very stoic. So there's times where I'm like, what's the problem? Like I think there's, and then she's like, nothing. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, why are we not having fun right now? Something's going on. And then she'll be like, and then she'll give me, and then she'll like unload things that are like a little bit of a problem, but then she doesn't know what to do because I'm like, what is the problem? What is the problem? What is your issue right now? What is going on? And then she'll dump 30 really small problems on me.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, I didn't think any of that was that big of a deal. And she's like, and then like maybe days later, she'll be like, none of that was that big of a deal. It was just you were so focused on there being a problem, I had to come up with one to answer you.
Yeah.
You know? So I think there's definitely something to be said about like dwelling and focusing on your pain. Like, but I think I would never want someone to shy away from like going to therapy and going to talk therapy and like working through the problems.
I've done it a handful of times.
But also there's like there's times where it's like, hey, you're dwelling on minute bullshit.
Yeah. Therapy was really good. The first time I did therapy was really good because I think after my divorce, like I was probably, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months in, and I'm like, this is like, it's expensive to go to therapy regularly. And I was just like, I was sitting down and I was like, I'm really happy. And he's like, oh yeah? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I kind of have been. Like, once this was all over with, like, I have my problems, don't get me wrong. I definitely have my mood issues. But generally, like, I'm at peace. Like, it was a nightmare having a roommate that you weren't in love with anymore. And you're just like, cool, we're just splitting the rent.
Yeah.
And then, but also there was a history there. It's a weird feeling. It's not.
I've been through it. I've been through exactly that situation. It's a weird feeling to be like, this used to be someone so important to me, and now I'm just kind of like.
Yeah. It's disheartening.
You kind of like turn shoulders so you don't bump in the hallway, kind of thing. You know?
Yeah, you don't want to be near each other. Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's hard. It's healthy to get out of that.
But that makes sense to be like, oh, I'm depressed.
Right.
Because I'm going through a divorce. That makes sense. You have a real problem.
Yeah.
You have a real problem.
Yeah.
But like, if you're a kind of depressive person that focuses on negative shit and is kind of you're not a grateful person.
Yeah.
You don't think about what things are going right in your life.
Yeah.
And you dwell on.
That's a great.
Mommy screamed at me 30 years ago, and now I have an inability to get past it. Like,
Grateful is a great word. There's all these words that like the older generation would throw, like you're unappreciative, you're not grateful, like those things. Those are so true, and it does lead to a depression. If you don't value what has been given to you in this life, because all that stuff is given to you.
Yeah.
Your what little bit of sanity you have, your work ethic, your whatever it might be, you learn those are traits that you've learned from other people, and someone guided you at some point to be a decent human being. You're not out there acting like an animal.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, you gotta we all have to take some time.
That's at the very basics. I mean, you could just talk about food, water, and shelter. I mean,
you can get
just
real
practicing,
basic,
just practicing gratitude in general, man.
Yeah.
Like, can change your, there's these, so I have anxiety issues. I've been an anxious person my entire life. I used to think that it came on suddenly as a teenager, but that's not true. When in hindsight, when I think about like my panicking brain that spirals out,
yeah,
I can think of like specific things where, like, as like a 5-year-old, I remember we had a plastic like jungle gym thing, like a little Tykes fucking, there's like a hole, and then there's like a half oval like opening door, and there's like a little whatever. Like fucking most people have had this thing in Michigan when they have little kids. I was climbing on top of that thing and I fell and I landed directly on my neck. And I landed on my neck, and I can remember having a panic attack about it at like 4 years old, thinking I'm gonna die. Even though I was standing up, looking at the thing, I could remember my thoughts completely spiraling out of control, going like, "Oh my God, I hurt something in my neck. My neck is, even though I'm okay right now, my neck is damaged, and now I'm gonna die if I,
Yeah.
So like, I've had anxiety issues my entire life, my entire fucking life. I don't know why, but in dealing with that, you learn about different techniques to kind of get yourself out of it. They're called grounding techniques. And one of the grounding techniques is journaling. And if you journal, one thing you should focus on is things that you're grateful for. Like you're practicing gratitude. And there's like box breathing, where you kind of like inhale for a certain amount of time, hold it for a certain amount of time, exhale for a certain amount of time, and hold the exhale for a certain amount of time and start over. And that'll kind of, slow your heart rate.
It does work.
Get you to focus on your breathing kind of thing. But, and then journaling has been huge for me. I mean, I've been at work and I keep a journal in my breast pocket for work stuff. But if I flip it backwards, if I flip it upside down, read it backwards like a fucking, like one of our old manga books that we would have bought back in the day when we were obsessed with Dragon Ball Z, you read it backwards. That's all my personal notes. So most of the time it's like, don't forget to schedule your MRI. But also sometimes I'm like, I'll like journal like what I'm grateful for, and it'll be like, sex has been great. My rent's paid.
Yeah.
Fucking kids are all healthy,
Right.
And I'll try to think of it. And then sometimes it's stupid shit. Sometimes it's like, I got new Sharpies, But like, I don't know, man. I feel like people really put their effort into dwelling into what their problems are. And I don't think that does anything. I don't think that, like, dude, understanding your issue, for sure. Understanding the things that you're not happy with is okay, but like being a control freak and not moving past that is a problem.
So like to kind of, I guess, fortify what you're saying on that last part there is I struggle with social media. Like I kind of am on and off it, obviously. Everybody jokes about it. I don't care. It doesn't hurt my feelings. Because I don't really see a use for it until I started making music, and I'm like, oh, well, now I have something to showcase, right? It's weird when people are like, hey, this is my life. Everybody see it. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But
there's something about ego there.
Yeah, it's a little crazy if you think about it. So now that I've been doing music again, and like obviously we live in a day and age of social media, so you have to have a social media presence. Well, that being said, I have a lot of social media people on my Facebook and Instagram that have huge followings. And those people, like, it's weird because there's a handful of them that are just negativity. Like, it's literally like every post every day, maybe 3 times, 4 times a day, is just like some weird negative banter. And like somehow that has led to, it's like, wow.
And
that's weird too. It's weird to like try to be a content creator and that's your content. Wild. I didn't know that was a thing.
These are popular people, or these are like friends of yours?
No, they're not. No one I know. These are just people that like I've added because, like, or they've added me just because of like you kind of just start seeing like people are like they got the blue check mark, and then it seems like everybody just starts adding each other because you're like, oh cool, you know, maybe their friends will like my stuff, and
dude,
I'll like their
think
stuff.
With people that I know personally, I think there's a correlation between how successful you are in life and how miserable your posts are on Facebook. I swear to God, if I went through my feed, if I could delete all the names and pictures and just see what the posts are, and it's like, not happy today, going to the hospital, no details, but keep me in your prayers or whatever. Yeah. 100% that person doesn't make any money. 100% that person is fucking living with.
Well, I think there's also, if you have any bit of professionalism in your life at all, you can't post stuff like that. It's weird. It's weird to be like.
I don't think it's an inability because of like an HR department. I think it's.
No, I'm saying like mentally, if you're doing the work,
would filter that shit.
Yeah, if you're doing the work, dude. Like I'm not. Like I posted. I mean, I'll post some stuff that's semi-negative, but it'll be like my latest post was like iMovie sucks because it ruined all my music. Like, yeah, that's negative, but like I wanted people to know because I posted 60 clips.
That's negative, but it's also an actual issue where it's like, hey, if you're doing music, don't use this because it's gonna fuck 100%. It up.
Also, I posted like 60 clips of, you know, with different tracks that I've made over, you know, the last 6 months or whatever, and you know, just different little clips. And I'm like, you know, I've had people like, it was funny because everybody liked my stuff until I started befriending other composers, and they're like, they loved it. They're like, the arrangement's great, but like, I don't know, like you might want to like look into like, you know, more specifics on how to do this or something. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like if I listen to my tracks on my website, they sound great. And then I've been using Beats earbuds, and like they compress stuff. Like they make everything just sound pretty damn good, even if it's a crappy recording. So I've been using those to just listen to my videos. Like if I edit a video and make something just for a quick clip, and I'm like, oh, that sounds great. And then I've had like feedback, and then this guy I work with, who's like a musician and really good at what he does, he was like, dude, there's like this, it just sounds weird, man. There's no high end clarity in like that what I watched, and like I don't know, because I'm like, hey, I made this new track which is solid. It's the best thing I've done yet. I'm thrilled about it. So I'm like sharing with the people, and these composers are like, I don't know, man. Like the arrangement's amazing, but like it doesn't sound spectacular, like, to be honest with you. And I'm like, what do you mean? So then I went back and I'm like, what's going on here? So then I took the audio file and I'm like re-EQing it, remastering. I'm like, did I do something wrong here? Like, what's going on? It sounds great. It sounds similar. Like maybe I'll drop the low end a little bit. Maybe I'll modify things. Did all that. And honestly, I ended up mastering this thing even better than I had previously, even though it was good before. But I'm like, all right. And I drop it in iMovie to like repost the video that I had it attributed to. And it sounds, I then hear it even in the Beats headphones. I finally hear it because I'm like, I've been listening for it now. And it's just this distorted high end. It's just like if you were to, it's almost like if we were to talk and like we're peaking with the S's, right? And then like you just try to drop that EQ to remove that, that is the exact same sound that I'm hearing with the violins. And I'm like, what the hell? I never even noticed this because I'm so focused on like the sound is so big. You don't even listen to that little part of the EQ. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, what the hell? So I figured out like iMovie, it will do that. It's just like screwing up the bit rate or whatever it might be, whatever it is. I don't know exactly the details. I don't know. But it sounds like garbage. So now there's going to be 0 videos unless. So now in order to make a video, I'm going to basically have to post a clip, like a 90-second clip, and it's going to be 90 seconds of whatever I've distributed. Does that make sense? So it's going to be like add music, because if you can do that, you can make a clip and you can find my music on those. If you click music, you can look up my name and all my tracks will come up. But I'm going to have to now post and do it that way, and it'll just be 90 seconds of whatever. I can't post like a full track, like, oh, hey, check out my new track. So until I get better software, which sucks. And I've tried to do some research. I really don't know what doesn't do that, because not only are you getting changes based on whatever movie software you're using to compile these video clips and whatever, because I'm not trying to make a film, right? So I just want something simple. Make some clips for your Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. Mm-hmm. How hard is that? Well, it's a pain in the ass when you're putting out high-end WAV files, and those WAV files get completely distorted. So you're getting distortion through iMovie, and then as soon as you upload to YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, those also change the sound too. Like if you even if you add a music clip to your video, you could hear it. Like I watch people's videos all the time, and I'm like, it'll be like a Coldplay song. You're like, this sounds like ass, but it's just because so many people are posting, they probably have to keep whatever, that
they have to compress something.
Right.
You can't post.
Yeah. Imagine 1 million people posting hourly, right?
Yeah. There's so much data being uploaded to these websites every minute.
So it sucks.
They just have to. But
And then as I've made friends with composers, they don't even post their shit. They don't. They're like, here's my website. If you want to hear my stuff, go to my website. I have some things on YouTube.
I don't think that's a good idea.
It's not good for someone that's
I don't think
up and
that's
coming.
good for marketing.
No, it's not. But these are already like, some of the people I've befriended are already success. Like they're old, successful composers. So it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter for
them. They
them.
don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't want their stuff to sound like ass for the sake of having some people follow them. They don't care. They already got their life.
I guess, yeah.
They're later in life. For me, as up and coming,
you need exposure to.
Now I have to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
So like that's going to be my next venture. It's like,
but
all right, what quality?
To circle back is bitching about something that's real.
Yeah, I don't know how. We went off on the deep end. I apologize about
it. To bitch about something that's real is not an issue, but to bitch about something that's I mean, like, man, I don't know. I don't love social media in general.
Yeah.
Like you know what I do like is all the creation that's on, like all the creators that are on there that write really funny skits and like interesting, and then there'll be interesting. Not only is there like funny TikToks and reels and whatever shorts, but there's also like heartfelt ones where it's like, hey, this is something I realized, and they make a skit about it, and that's, I think those are good. Like those are like grounding in their own sense. Like,
yeah.
Someone posted like a video of there was two similar clips of like a little girl running up to her dad and like jumping, and she's like 2 years old.
Yeah.
And she picks her up, and then he picks her up, and then like the mom shot like a very similar clip like a few years later, and she jumped and he picked her up, and she's like twice the size, and it's like, Jesus, like how fast is having kids go? Like how fast does it go by?
Right.
And like, so I think those are like, I like that. I like that stuff. I like the stuff that grounds me, and like, because there's times where you just get into the not the rat race, but like, there's a lot of times where weeks go by where it just feels like Groundhog's Day, where it's just like, get up at 5, get the kids off to the babysitter, get to work all day, go get the kids from school to home, cook dinner, clean up dinner, everyone do their chores, everyone shower. Okay, we can watch a show for a half hour.
Yeah.
And then it's bedtime for you guys. And then it's like, holy shit, a year has gone by. Like, how did that happen?
Right.
How did a year go by already?
Yeah.
And so I think seeing those videos is kind of good to like recenter, like good for me to like recenter myself and go like, oh yeah, you know what? Yes, let's play Madden. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what? Yeah, let's play Madden. Or let's play a board game. And I fucking hate board games.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Social media, I mean, obviously has its pros and cons, just like anything else.
Right.
But I think for the most part, what I thought it was going to be back in like the MySpace days and the early days of Facebook, where it was like, oh, I'm going to keep up with all my friends.
It was more or less the
and
networking.
Now I'm like, I don't want to keep up with any of you people. Like the majority of people that are active on Facebook, it's like you're 30 years old and you're like posting a vague post where it's like, I just can't catch a fucking break. Please, no questions. It's like,
why post that?
Fuck you.
Yeah. I used to. I've done that in the past, though. I don't want to like act like I've never done that.
No,
I have. But I think you forget. Like, I don't know. I guess also like you forget how to use it. like there's times where I'm like super pissed off and I just like want to vent on there a little bit, but like I don't know, like not because there is some kind of self-therapy that comes out of that, I think, for some people, and it has for me in the past when I was going through like some stupid shit. But then I'm like, people are going to read that and just be like, oh, you're just whining, because that's what they're seeing. Like, people don't talk to you that often, whatever, and then they just see that, and you're like, oh, you're a whiner. But that's not really who you are. It's just you in that moment. That's who you.
That's your projection. As far as people who are friends with you online, but not friends with you actively in your real life.
Well, that's exactly the thing.
Oh, that dude I went to high school with that I used to hang out with, but I don't talk to anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Like if all I posted was negative shit, they'd be like, oh, Matt's a negative person.
I honestly have most people on my Facebook now are people I have never met in my life. And I almost kind of prefer that. Yeah. It's kind of nice. I mean, I have my friends on there too, but
it's weird to have a reminder of people that you don't really like, aren't important to your life anymore.
Here's a funny thing.
There's relatives that I have on Facebook.
This is another reason why I
haven't talked to in fucking years.
When I made my Facebook for the music, I literally had stated, this is my professional page, just so everybody knows. Like, it's going to be just videos. It's going to be music. It's going to be things I like as far as music goes. And that's pretty much been the entirety of it. And, so I was posting videos. Well, I posted a video like on Christmas Eve, and I got so much flack. So many people were so pissed that I sent them a piano video. Like, I had 3 or 4 people, and I had to make a disclaimer, and I go, look, this is my professional page. If you don't want a video from my professional page of me doing what I'm trying to do professionally, then block me. You know what I mean? So I'll just mass send out.
I don't understand.
A handful of people complained that on Christmas Eve I was sending piano videos because I was
directly to them,
like messaging.
Okay.
So I actually stopped doing DMs like with my personal content because I started realizing as I got more people, I was like, this is going to be a lot. And also it's when it was just like,
I don't think people like that anyway.
Probably not.
I don't know.
See, I don't know social media well enough. I'm just saying I did it for a while. And a lot of people liked it because they don't see, they might have 1,000, 2,000, 4,000 friends. They don't ever see my shit. So some people were really grateful. Like, dude, I'm so glad you sent this because this is awesome. And I had no idea you posted this. I had a lot of positive feedback, but then the people that don't want to see it, it's like, well, you have all of the control. Just because I send you something doesn't mean you got to watch it. A, B, you can also block, if you don't want to see my videos, it's fine. You're not hurting my feelings. You don't need to see it. So, but now I don't even do that because I'm like, at this point, it's a lot of work and a lot of effort to send all that shit all the time. So I'm kind of getting used to how it's done because also I follow people that are super successful that do that shit all the time, and I hate it. And when I realized that, like, there's some people from Europe that are not necessarily composition, but whatever, drummer. Like, there's a drummer that I follow that like will send. It's like every couple days he's like inviting me to some like live chat about his shit. I was like, I don't even listen to your shit. I like your shit, but it's like, it's weird when you're constantly getting that stuff and you're like, I kind of want to just not even follow you now. Because it's like, I like what you're doing and we've contacted each other and we've talked. But now that you're just trying to sell me like, because you teach people how to be successful in this avenue and that.
Yeah,
you're
trying to sell spamming bullshit that people do on social media that they think is the right move. Well, and it's people, a turn off.
Okay, no, but it is the right move when you have 50, 100,000 followers. Of course it is, because if 10% of those people go, yeah, sure, I'll sign up for your stupid class. Fuck it, you're making millions of dollars.
There's so much.
What I mean?
Jesus,
that was me. I'm sorry. I hit the cord.
There's so much annoying shit out there with people, so much fake shit on Instagram. Like, I grew my channel to 100,000 subscribers in 6 days. Let me show you how to do it. Sign up for my ebook and blah, blah, blah. Sure. I mean, there's so much bullshit out there.
Ridiculous. Like, yeah.
I don't know.
Since I've had a blue check mark, I've had so much of that shit, and I'm so like, I'm like, I don't even respond. I'm like, well, I'll let you sit in the requests.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't know. I don't want those are the people that like the entirety of their career is social media shit, where it's like,
which I don't want to.
Social media is a means to an end for us. It's like we use social media to get traffic to our podcast,
Right.
And using social media to get traffic to your music page so that that can manifest into real work, and
Yeah.
but like getting people to sign up for a fucking e-class on my Instagram page. Like I don't care if I have 100, I don't care if I have a million followers on Instagram. It's just I want enough followers. I would want enough followers that this becomes something that,
Yeah.
like, first of all, I would want it to pay for itself, which it doesn't do yet. That's the first goal.
Yeah.
The first goal is that it pays for itself, which it doesn't. Right now, it's costing me money.
Yeah.
The second goal would be for that it pays me and pays you. Right? And then eventually...
Yeah.
This
It's
thing
definitely costing us money, but everything I do costs me money. I mean, everything I've dabbled in,
Yeah.
I mean,
it costs me
music
time.
stuff.
This costs me time and money.
Yeah.
And the time is probably the more
Yeah.
valuable thing because I have a
anything you're going to get
career
into.
outside of this, right? So like
Absolutely.
but it's also costing me actual money between like paying for softwares and
sure.
paying for gear and whatever.
Absolutely.
So like
Yeah, welcome to the club.
yeah.
But
it
it sucks. It's like and then I've got to
But that's not the main thing. Like
Yeah.
the main thing is that I want to be able to, like we've talked about doing a podcast forever because I feel like we've always had interesting conversations, and if we can have conversations and get to a point where we can start bringing on other people and just learn about other people and learn about their experiences, like that's what I want to do. I'm much more interested in that than what I do for a living. I'm much more interested in human connection than I am into fucking welding pipe. I don't really give a fuck about welding pipe. It's just a means to an end.
I mean, it's fun. It's fun to do anything that's interesting and expressive in some way. I mean, for sure. I mean, I'm definitely way happier now that I've been doing a handful of different things. It's been fun. It's even fun just to get simple context from people, like when you're dabbling in something and you're like someone reaches out and they like your stuff. Or I had a cartoon studio I was like in contact with. That was kind of cool. Just cool conversation. Some orchestrators and stuff like that. Give me some solid advice. There's a composer, which awesome work. Awesome composer. Does like from what I've seen, it's mostly like he's done work for cartoons. But before that, he was a jazz musician and had a jazz band that was so good, dude.
Yeah.
So good. Like live performance at like a nice cocktail place. Like he sent me some videos. I'm like, this is you? Like I'm thinking you're some sort of musical, I don't want to say amateur, but like, why were we talking? Like, I'm surprised you're talking to me. But it gave me this awesome, like we have, I don't want to say that we're in the same boat because I never had a jazz band that played cocktail places, and you know what I mean? But like we have the same way of thinking about music. I'm more of a jazz mentally guy, so trying to do more classical style stuff with a lot of dissonance is weird. It's hard to balance that, and he's kind of like, he gave me so much good advice, and just having that is like that is why I have social media. I don't give a shit about getting my music out there. I can figure out another way to do it if I had to, but I mean, I want to, but I'm just saying, like, if I really had to break it down, what's important to me with it, that is it. I mean, have a guy that's like kind of in the same realm of like, I'm just figuring this stuff out, because I was like a decent musician for most of my life, and did a lot of cool stuff, but this is what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And to hear him go, like I made a post the other day or yesterday that was like, he made a comment that as a composer, your music is for the listener. The act of composing is for you as the artist. And that flipped a switch in me that was like, oh my God. Because we were going back and forth, and I was kind of ranting about the nature of music composition now. And I'm like, everyone sounds like, trying to sound like Hans Zimmer. Everybody's trying to sound like Ramen. Everybody's trying to do the next Game of Thrones soundtrack or whatever, the next, sci-fi movie, big top seller or whatever. And I'm like, it's cool. I mean, a lot of people are doing really cool, creative stuff, but everyone is going to know that you're trying to sound like these people. They have their sound. They have their way of doing things. And he was like, yeah, he's like, but if you really break it down, I made a point that Hans Zimmer, like the newer stuff that Hans Zimmer's doing, is a lot of feel. a lot of feel. There's a lot of feel to the way he's organizing his music and texturing his music. It's like, I want to feel this. Because he made a point about going back to the standards. Like, all right, well, what is a standard, piece for this style or this genre or this, feeling or emotion? Go back to the standards. And I go, yeah, but like, as someone who understands that there's so much gray area, and someone who's been in a position long enough to know, like, there's a lot of play there. I don't know that I want to focus my energy to the standards. But then he made this solid point. It's like, but have you ever listened to something from Hans Zimmer that was melodically mind-blowing? And I go, shit, you got a point. It's all basic chords. It's all basic chord key. It's all basic keys. There's nothing weird. He's never written anything that was weird. Never once. John Barry, yes. John Barry, listen to John Barry. It's dissonant, crazy, all over the place, sporadic. I just got turned on to a Swedish composer that's fantastic. His stuff is insane. Like, in my opinion, if I had, like how when you like get into sports, like, say you like skateboarding, right? There's guys who are solid that always nail the tricks, and then there's guys who reinvent the wheel. Mm-hmm. And it's like you like both, but you like both differently. This guy from Sweden, I don't know if he's really like had his he's done a lot of orchestration. He's done his due diligence. He's like 70 years old. Probably my favorite composer of all time. His stuff is insane.
What has he worked on?
He's just I can't remember. I can't remember the details. It's a lot of, he's done a lot of plays and a lot of concertos and stuff like that, and a lot of orchestration that orchestras have performed over there. He's pretty much, I feel like it's kind of honed into his area, but dude, he's so good. So good because it reminds me of John Barry and how John Barry would be like sporadic and weird noises, and you're like, what? Like, it would surprise you. Real sweet sounding, and then all of a sudden, da-da-da, you know what I mean? And then like winds will just come out of nowhere and just, and you're like, what is that? Why would you do that? But like, he's doing that stuff, but not just, in his own way, right? Like piano will be like really pretty, and then all of a sudden it's dun 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 dun, and like violins are just following along, and it's like, holy crap, like, it's intense, right? But it's like he's starting, but it made the point that, you're starting in this place of standard, right? Like, beautiful, this is what this is, and then you branch off and you get a little crazy, go off the cuff. But it made me think that, not that my stuff is by any means off the cuff, but like, there is having like a really solid foundation to build off of. Because I have some tracks that just start off kind of crazy. Not crazy, but like, it's a lot. And like, to build up to something, and kind of having a place to fall back on, and, kind of toning it down and slowing it down, and, pulling that feeling out of people is way more important than me listening and go, oh, that's fun. No one's going to give a shit that I like it.
Yeah.
I would say most music composers probably don't really like their stuff. They just like the fact that it turned out good. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, that was, and it sucks because I thought going into this it wouldn't be that way, but it's more that way than being in a band. You have less control. You have way less control. You are only in control of the end result. You are not in control of what's going to be correct. There is a specific way that you have to do stuff, and it's like weird. It's like, but it made me, I think it's humbling. It's not a free concert. You're composing music for an audience, and if you want people to appreciate it, or you're composing for a director who wants something very specific. So if you just look at it that way, and you're like, okay, well, some people have written like the most amazing soundtracks I've ever heard, and they may have listened to it once, performed live by an orchestra. They just scored it. Here you go. I think this will work. They had an orchestra play it, and they heard it once in their entire lives. That's the work I'm getting into. And then I got to remember, like, it's not about what I want at all. So that's an interesting take. But yeah, I'm learning so much. But anyway, the whole point is social media has like led me to this point of like, I've learned a ton from people that are doing it. Yeah. So it's nice. It's nice to
that's huge to have to actually get yourself involved in a community and start learning from that community. Yeah. Instead of just going, I'm gonna take what I think I want to do and I'm gonna figure it out myself. Yeah. There's guys who've come before you, and are doing it now, they can go, hey, this is the way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's huge to have that resource.
Absolutely.
And 50 years ago, you wouldn't, 20, 30 years ago, you wouldn't have had that resource.
No, not really.
You would just be writing music and be like, please, God, someone notice this.
Yeah.
And like,
pretty much.
And no one is going to.
Yeah.
No one's going to unless you're like,
I would say
spamming them with like dropping off tapes and calling people until they're sick of hearing your fucking voice.
It's weird because a lot of the big name older composers all started from just bullshit, like not bullshit, actually pretty big bands. Every one of them. They started from bands that were just hanging out in LA and they're like, "Why? I want to do something better than this." Or they got like a break, right? Someone's like, "Hey, like I like your music. You wrote all the music for this album. Cool. What do you think about doing my movie?" Like,
I could see it. I could see like Misha fucking taking on composing music for film
I don't even know who that is.
from Periphery.
Oh yeah.
Because
like he probably has.
he programs like he'll write a song and program an entire song and then be like, hey, learn your part.
Yes, the
You know what I
entire he's a genius. Yeah.
So like putting it in that vein for sure, I could see some guys just branching from there and But.
And it's funny listening to like old work by some of these people too, because if you listen to like, well, I don't want to like get too specific because it might come off rude, and I don't want to sound rude about like people I look up to, so I'm not going to get too crazy with it. But if you listen to some of like the early works by the people that are phenoms in the trade right now, like it's hilarious. You're like, you won an award for this? What? Like honestly,
because it's bad?
It's not. It doesn't make sense that it was revered as being good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's like it's questionable. It's like, how did this? So I don't want to get into too many details, but yes, it's like it's interesting, but it makes me wonder like whatever it was probably just worked well enough for that film. It was just good enough. It was people resonated with it.
Yeah.
Or it was like some inside shit where it was like, hey, we'll give you an award for this. It's cool. You're my buddy. We'll figure it out.
I'm sure there's some of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But also the music itself doesn't need to be incredible to be very good for the film.
Yeah, it's got to be effective. That's
and I think that's one thing that I've noticed. I mean, like there's like a recurring theme of what we talk about, and I think if you do your job, if a composer does his job well, you don't notice it. Unless it's incredible, then you'll notice it. But there's like a diminished return from you suck, you're incredible, and there's like a bell curve.
Yeah,
and like
there's
within
also
that bell curve is like you don't notice
this. There's definitely also like this is way too good for this media. I've seen that a lot. Yeah. I've actually seen a lot. Actually, a good example of that is if you watch like, I don't want to say old cartoons, but if you watch like cartoon movies that had like composers compose the soundtrack, the best soundtracks you'll ever hear in your life, and you're like, and they're winning awards, and it's for some Disney shit, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And you're like, I mean, it's cool, it's great, it's a great way to make your break, but you're like, isn't there like a point where it's like this doesn't really add up to me? Like if this was in a phenomenal movie.
But that was the standard 100 years ago.
Right.
When Disney started.
Yeah.
The standard was orchestral music.
That's the thing too, is like musicians were just like, if you were a musician, you were a musician. You were top notch at what you did. For not always, but if you were doing it, right? So I don't know. There's like I feel like there's a long road even for me. Like as far as doing it, like people think I'm just doing this for fun, and it's not. It's not fun. There's nothing fun about it. Like it's cool to have an end result, and some people like it, but
I don't think that's right. I don't think that's fair to say.
What do you mean?
There's nothing fun about it. It's not cheap fun. It's expensive fun.
No. I mean, it's
a weird thing.
It's not. It's work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it's a headache.
Yeah, but it's
I like
there's
you can like things that aren't fun.
There's I've heard, there's like a saying about like cheap fun and expensive fun, and like cheap fun is things that are fun in the moment, but then you forget about them like right after.
Yeah.
Like riding a roller coaster, and then the roller coaster's over and you don't ever think about it ever again. But then like expensive fun is like you suffered like a motherfucker, and then you got this really cool result at the end.
Yeah. Well,
That's
it's
fun.
like,
That's fun. That's expensive fun.
yeah, that's,
You know, so you're putting work into something where you like the results.
it's not
at the
fun.
end.
It's not fun because you might like the results at the end for a moment, and then a month later you're like, wow, I wish this sounded like this.
Yeah.
It's never, you're never full, but that's part of the artwork. It's like anybody. It's anybody that's an actor. It's anybody that's a musician. That's anybody doing any kind of art. You're not a fan of what you're doing. You're doing it because it either needs to be done for a client, or you're doing it to express something.
Yeah.
And you might not feel that way an hour later.
That's how I felt every time I've written a song that was like based. There's songs that I wrote because I wanted to, and then there's songs that like without sounding stupid, it's like I have to write this. Like I got to get this out. And I've written songs where when I listen back to it, I'm like, I fucking hate this song because I don't like being in this headspace. You know, I don't like being in the headspace of where I was when I wrote the song. And, you know, so like going back and listening to it, I'm like, this is a good song, technically, but for me, I hate it. Yeah. And then people might be like, dude, this song's really, you know, this song's the lyrics are interesting. You know, it's cool. It's, you know, it's well performed, whatever. And I'm fucking like, I hate this song. Like, shut this off. Yeah. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to be back in the headspace where I was when I wrote this song.
Yeah, I've written some stuff where I was like, I hated it, and I still posted it, and some people, it's weird, some of the stuff I absolutely despise that I've made, that I'm just like, not despise, that's a strong word, but like, I'll never put it on. Like, if I'm going through my works, and I'm just like, I want to kind of just do a little overview and see what I like and don't like, and where I want to go with this, I'll listen to like most of the stuff I made, and I'm just like, I'll skip some, I'm like, I don't even want to listen to that one. And like some people that resonates with, you know, like it's so, but like that's the point. It's not about me. It's not about me. I'm making something that, and you don't want to fish for it either, right? You don't want to fish for.
Yeah, you don't want to engineer results because then it comes off phony. So you gotta write something that.
Well, I don't see yes and no, because I think like really as a composer you are engineering results. That's the point. I mean, that's kind of the entire job. You can have a melody that's just 3 notes and engineer something that is the most moving thing you've ever made.
You need to go about it in a way that doesn't come off as phony and derivative.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, for sure. I mean...
You don't want it to be phony and derivative, and then someone's like, this fucking guy. Like, I'm going to cry because you wrote these... Like, you did this derivative fucking thing, you know, that everyone else has done for a dying person's scene.
See, now that's kind of where it's like... This is where the argument...
But you don't want to...
That's actually where the argument starts in... Because music... There's people that are 100%... That's the way it's done every time. No ifs, ands, or buts. And there's people who are like, yeah, this is...
those people are uninteresting.
Yeah, but those people are also successful in the trade. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever. I mean, like...
Yeah,
let them be successful at doing nothing remarkable ever.
Right, 100%. Yeah, I don't know that I wanted to go that route. I have a job. Does that make sense? Like, I have a career.
Yeah.
I don't need to make
studio. Now, do you need to make waves every single time you do something? No, not at all. But if you do something that's completely has been done, if you could just copy and paste what you did from something else that's already been done, you're fucking boring.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know,
and it probably goes with everything. You know, finding that balance is in that sweet spot. But that comes with time, comes with practice, and comes with skill. Yeah. Skill takes a long time, you know. And I guarantee you that I've listened to some soundtracks where, like, there's, like, 2 tracks on it that are phenomenal. Like, you're not going to listen to it and not feel something intense. And then, like, the rest of the soundtrack's just noise or whatever.
That's most of the time.
Most of the time.
Most of the time you listen to a soundtrack, which by the way, who the fuck listens to a soundtrack unless they're watching the movie?
You. I do.
But 99% of people don't. No one else does.
Yeah. I think a lot of musicians do.
Musicians do. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Most people are not musicians.
Yeah, that's true.
Most people are like, "Oh, I liked that song when I watched that movie."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'll listen to soundtracks, and there might be 2 songs out of a 14-track soundtrack that are like, wow, these ones are incredible.
Right, yeah.
By the way, Moana soundtrack.
Oh, the music is amazing.
Is incredible.
Yeah.
Moana's soundtrack is probably one of the few soundtracks that like every single song is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's one of the best musically. It's one of the best movies.
That is Disney, correct?
In the last like
I want to
in the
make
last
sure,
like 30 years.
So, I had this. This was part of. This is also going on that. I didn't speak specifically on Moana, but my point about the hypocrisy in music composition was specifically about what you're talking about. Is that there isn't many. There is very select few Disney movies that don't have mind-blowing, amazing soundtracks, beautiful music, fun music.
That's why they're as successful as they are.
100%. And some of the best music that the biggest composers that are living right now have ever done, in my opinion, has been from those, just 20, 30 years ago when they were doing, maybe, I don't want to say interning at Disney because I really don't know, right? But like just making some shit for Disney. Mm-hmm. I mean, like Lion King. I mean, some of the best work I've ever heard, like Lion King soundtrack for the movies, like mind-blowingly good.
Yeah.
And then we want to talk about Hans Zimmer and Interstellar and time. It's like, whatever, Inception and Interstellar, and you're like, all right, yeah,
it's
good, but it's also a textured soundscape that is for two sci-fi movies. They're my favorite. They're some of my favorite tracks of all time. Yes, but if you want to get down to the musicality, right? Go back and listen to the Lion King soundtrack and Hans Zimmer work on that. I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's tear-jerking, and it's for a cartoon about lions.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I think the thing is we have to be honest. And this is, like, where I get bothered is like, and the hypocrisy in any, like, form of entertainment or artistry. There's like this hypocrisy where it's like, well, you need to know the standards, but why doesn't this sound like this? It's like, well, because that isn't the standard. That is the new age contemporary version of what you're talking about. See what I'm saying? So it's like you can have both, but that's skill. That takes a long time to develop that. So it's like, it's bothersome because you're just like working, like in what I'm doing, or even this podcasting. You could have like 100. If this took off, I guarantee we're gonna get to a point where some people are reaching out, going, "Why aren't you guys doing this? Why aren't you doing that? This makes way more sense." Mm-hmm. It's gonna happen. People are like, "Well, this is the standard of podcasting." It's like, all right, man, get out of here.
Yeah, I've already had people reach out to me and be like, "Why aren't you guys limiting yourself to an hour? Why aren't you just an hour and done?
Yeah.
Why did you guys put out like a 2 hour and 20-minute episode?" Like, fuck you. I'm going to do exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't like that. I mean, that comes from a place of like, this doesn't make sense. It's like, yeah, but you're not the authority.
You're not even doing it.
You're not even doing it is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
God, the amount of people that have ideas. I had a friend post on Facebook. What do you guys think about me doing a thing, doing a podcast, and blah blah blah? And he like posted this big post about how he's gonna interview people and he's gonna talk to people, and he had like some of our mutual friends comment on there and be like, I would listen, I would support that. I wanted to be like, I'm doing it and you're not even supporting it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not even doing it. This guy's not fucking doing it. He's not gonna do it.
Right.
He's not going to do it because he's a fucking dreamer who does nothing.
Yeah.
He's going to be a professional skateboarder. He's going to be a professional musician. He's going to be a fucking whatever. Right. Yeah. And then it's like, you're not doing anything. You're not doing any of it.
Yeah.
But then people are like, yeah, dude.
People don't realize the work that goes into anything that you want to do. Like, people think it's just talking. This is so much shit. This right now is the stepping stone. What we have, this set, what we're doing, what we're talking about, we're learning as we go.
Everything.
We're so amateur at this, just like, and me, my music, right? Amateur. I would gladly say that I'm not good at what I do. I just like doing it. Even as shitty as it is sometimes and as hard as it is and as difficult and unfun as it can be, you got to do it. You got to put the hard work in. You got to have fun. I mean, you make fun of it, right? You figure out ways to enjoy it in some way, but you know, it's going to take time. It takes development, you know? I mean, this is a skill. You got to get good at talking. I'm not good at talking. I'm not very good at talking. It's taken a long time to even get to this point. And I'm almost 40 years old. I mean, if this was 15 years ago, I would be like, yeah, right. That's it.
But and then the other thing is everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah.
Everything else that goes along with it, trying to build a social media presence, trying to make sure that we put out only good episodes, and we kill our babies, we scrap bullshit, and we only put out good stuff, and then also we try to be vulnerable without causing problems in our personal lives, and like oversharing and doing, you know what I mean? I mean, there's so much shit about this that's
there's a lot
difficult.
of skill.
There's a lot of stuff about it that's difficult.
This is the funnest thing I've ever done. And the most enjoyable thing I've ever done, because I'll even go to work. Like today, I got to work tonight. I'm gonna go and talk about it. Like, yeah, we talked about this and stuff. And people love it. Like even people that have never listened to us love the fact that we're doing it.
But
they're just like, are you getting
paid?
paid? They don't really know any better, but they're like, are you getting paid? I'm like, no, we're just doing it for fun. Maybe one day, right? It's gonna take some time. So, but I do agree with you. It is a skill to be able to have the conversation, keep the conversation flowing, and not overshare and not be, you know, overly offensive. Yeah. It is a skill. It is a skill like anything else. And, but I'm enjoying it. And honestly, it's helped me, I think, a little bit in talking in my personal life. Because I'm like, all right, well, how do I be non-offensive but also get my point across? Yeah. You know, I mean, it's helped me at work. It's helped me, you know, with talking to people that might be difficult even, you know. So, yeah. I don't know. I just like doing stuff, man. I mean, I'm a doer. We've talked about this before. We're both doers. We want to just go for it, you know?
Well, that's to go back to, like, contentment, like we've talked about before. It's you get into this rat race where you're just trying to get through the week. And you're like, why? You know, like I've gotten to the point where I'm like, why am I anxious? Why am I mad? Why am I like... Why do I not want to hang out with the kids? Or like, why am I being a bitch right now? And sometimes I don't even understand it. And a lot of the times it boils down to something as simple as like, my entire life is just going to work to support and feed kids. Yeah. And like, I love my kids and I wouldn't change anything about having kids. I want more kids, but you got to have a life outside of it. You got to have a life outside of your relationship with your... Like, I have to have a life outside of my relationship with my fiancée and a life outside of having my kids. And growing up an artist my entire life, whether I'm drawing, painting, writing drum tracks, writing, you know, music, all of the creative things that I've done over the last, you know, 20 years. And then, like, for like 5 years, 6 years of that or something, I did nothing creative at all. Mm-hmm. And that's when, like, all of the anxiety came back, all of the depression came back, and it's like, what the fuck? What am I doing wrong? Like, I'm doing all the right things. On paper, I'm doing all the right things. I'm going to work. I'm going to school. I'm going through, you know, trade school. I'm paying my bills. I'm doing all the right things. I'm in a good relationship. I've been a good dad. Yeah. And then I'm like, what the fuck? I feel like something's wrong. And it's like, because all of my effort is now for other people. Yeah. And it's like, all right, some of this effort needs to be for me, and so now putting effort into something that I care about, which is, you know, having a creative venture and something to scratch the creative itch. Yeah. I thought building a business would scratch that creative itch, and it did in a weird way. You know, building a painting company that, you know, I painted apartments on the side of my regular career. That did a lot for me, but it wasn't the right move. I made more money, but like also it was just taking on more of a burden of it's a big
burden, man. And to not dedicate your time fully to it is a huge burden.
I mean, and it was a lot of work, and I if I had a successful business and I had a lot of work and that was outside of my regular career, so it was like, cool, I'm double dipping. This is great. Right. But then I was like having panic attacks. I remember I remember going on like rental websites and like just emailing 1,000 property owners and be like, hey, these are the services I offer. Feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah.
And then they fucking did. And I would have panic attacks about it. I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, why am I taking on... I don't care about apartments. I don't care about rental houses. I don't give a fuck about any of this. I don't care about painting. And so I backed out of that. And that was kind of forced. That my hand was kind of forced because my ex is a fucking idiot. And she reported my phone stolen, and that was my work number so that she could back my phone. Dude, she reported my phone stolen and backed my phone up to her phone so that she could go through all my text messages and Snapchat and all that shit. Everything on my phone. We were already broken up, and she just did it just to be fucking petty. And because of that, I lost the number that was attached to my business. And once I like had a couple of weeks of like having an inability of getting in contact with people, I was like, you know what? I don't want to do that anyway. So I just let the business die. I was like, it's fine.
That's wild. I did not know any of that.
Yeah. I'm like, it's fine. That's what, dude,
let's not get too far into it, but yeah, that's wild. What a nightmare.
she's a fucking idiot.
Well.
She's an idiot. Yeah. So, but the point is that all of that effort was going into building a business that like, I didn't care about the business itself. Some of it was like, would scratch that creative itch. You know, I got to use some creative energy. Like we're going to Home Depot for material, and then someone's like bitching about how their contractor's not doing their job right. Hey, I kind of hear you. I don't mean to eavesdrop, but you know, I own a contracting company, and then I get side work fucking maintaining an Airbnb, and
right.
You know what I mean? Like that stuff was fun, but it's not like I go home and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to have an extra couple $100 a week now because I'm going to work for them too.
Right. That's a lot when you already have a full-time job.
A full-time job and a family, and I'm like working till midnight, you know, and then I just cannot find fucking help that is reliable anywhere.
Yeah.
People I thought would be rock solid for help were just fucking useless, you know, and...
Me being one of those too.
Well, you got overwhelmed, and that's understandable because it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work. But
it's a lot of work to try to get done quick.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll try.
Yeah.
You know.
But you were at least trying.
Yeah.
I mean, I had people come to help me, and the first thing they did was sit down on the paint bucket to like start looking for a show to watch while I worked, and I was like, just leave.
Yeah.
Why are you even here?
Right.
Get a fucking paintbrush and move it up and down until the apartment's painted.
Yeah.
Why are you sitting down? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I still think I think back to that and I'm like, yeah, I think if like I had done it longer, I probably would have gotten the swing of things and it would have been sweet.
Also, who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck about it.
No. Either do I. But I definitely have thought about it. I'm like, you know, honestly, it's like anything. Like, it's taken me how long to get kind of used to the place I work at now. You know, I mean, it takes time. It takes time to get good at what you do. It takes time to be
everything does, for sure.
It takes time to be kind of reliable, right? Yeah. Or whatever. I mean, beyond just standard work ethic, which most people don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the people that I thought would be rock solid were the worst ones that I hired. I mean, I hired 6 or 7 different people in the few years that I had my painting company. And I'm like, Jesus. Like, dude,
owning a
seriously?
company in general sucks. It's tough.
It's hard.
It's only good if you have money. You can just pay everyone to handle it. Like you're just like, I invested. I'm taking this cut. You know what I mean? I'll have the final say.
To be held
to me when you have a problem.
To be held accountable.
Yeah.
To be held accountable by these property owners and be like, hey Matt, what the fuck's going on with your what is going on with your units? And I'm like, Jason said that he had them. So and so said that he had them handled. You know, and then you're like, what the fuck? Like, you go over there and it's like not even halfway painted, and they've been in it for 4 days, and it's supposed to be a 1-day turnaround. You're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
And you've charged me 10 hours of labor. I'm like, I'm not paying you 10 hours of labor. You haven't even been here 10 hours. There's no way. You know, and it's like, it's hard. It's hard to balance that and then be held accountable. And you're like, dude, I have to have all the answers, but then also I have to manage keeping people in line and getting everything done, and getting it done in a timely manner, and make sure the people that I hire are good at what they do, and they're polite, and they're personable. You know, it's like fucking, I mean, the saying good help is hard to find is it's a stereotype, but man, is it true? It's fucking impossible to find people that are reliable.
I can't even find people to collaborate with, like with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've been talking with creative minds. There's some of them for years about doing projects that we haven't even.
Oh, people let their laziness take over. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, it's like everyone has grandiose ideas.
Yeah.
No one. It's not about having ideas.
I'll be honest with you.
Everybody has ideas.
You take a genius with no work ethic and some moron with a ton of work ethic, and that moron's going to do more with his life and in that trade or that field than you ever.
For sure, dude.
It's
that's
crazy.
That's what I'm saying is like you have these people with grandiose ideas that'll never do anything about it, and it's like
I'd rather be a moron that works hard and gets to that point of you know.
Yeah.
There's
I mean, how many people do we know? How many people do we know that are like
I'll be honest,
inherently talented but lazy as fuck and have done nothing with it?
I have a funny really not even a story, but like just a short little thing about this is when we were kind of slow at work, we were going through some rough times. Some guys I worked with, well, this specifically one guy was like, man, there's so much you could do, man. He's like, you know, I mean, just learn how to play guitar and learn how to do music and learn how to do this and that. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then like fast forward like 6 months later, and I'm like, hey, have you ever heard, you know, we were talking and I was like, yeah, I'm making music. I'm trying to get my music in films. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I go, I've been a musician for 30 years. And he's like, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, well, because I didn't want to like derail you trying to be supportive when like I was kind of worried about my job, you know? And he's like, oh, well, let me listen to it. Well, a week goes by. He's like, dude, I got to tell you something. And I go, what? And he's like, the family and I were eating dinner and my wife's like, hey, put on your coworker's music. And he's like, we listened to all of your music at dinner. And I was like, oh, really? I was like, that's embarrassing. He's like, no, my wife loves it. My wife is obsessed with Howard Shore and like Lord of the Rings and just these composers, and she's like, she loved your stuff. And I was like, cool. Dude, my heart dropped, and I was like, I don't want to cry. I'm at work, you know. I was like, it felt so good. Yeah. But like moments like that, man, moments like that are way more like they make it worth it. And but that's my point. Is it's like I think there's something cool about not always showcasing what you do. Like I don't want to tell everybody what I've got going on and stuff. Like you know what I mean? It was kind of cool, like. To be like kind of surprise people too, like, hey, like, I mean, we're coworkers, so like, I'm not going to talk about my personal life all the time, right? But to be like, hey, yeah, like I'm doing this and for them to really like it and enjoy it. And I mean, to listen to my stuff at the dinner table, their whole family, it's wild. Yeah. It's like, wow. So that was so cool
fun.
Feeling.
Isn't it funny? Like, okay, this is akin to what you're saying, but it's fucking kind of a derailment.
That's fine. Yeah.
You remember going to people's houses as kids and just being like, man, you guys are so different than my family. Yeah. Like just like going like, hey, oh, it's dinner time. Wash, and they have like their own like their own like ritual where it's the lights on, the street lights are on. Go home, wash your hands. Going, it's time for dinner.
Feels like a cult because we didn't. I don't remember having.
Like what?
I'm like, what is this?
But it like feels culty to me. At my house.
But it should be that way.
At my house, every single day, we get home. Yeah. We get home, and because I've been, on average, I get home later than Paige does. Paige is normally the one starting dinner. Sometimes I help her finish cooking. Sometimes she finishes dinner, and I don't have to do anything. But for the most part, we like get home. Everyone gets cleaned up. We all sit down. We eat dinner pretty much 5 o'clock every day. Yeah. And it's I don't know what it's funny to me to look at different people's rituals of like how you handle your home life. Yeah, it's kind of funny. And like when you were telling me that they listen to your music at the dinner table, I was like, that's the only time that all 5 of us get to sit down in my family. Yeah, me and my fiance and our 3 kids to be able to sit down and be like, how was your day? What did you do today? Yeah. How was your day? What did you do today? Yeah. So like putting on music at the dinner table is so.
It's a weird thing.
Foreign to me that I'm almost offended that they listen to music at the dinner table.
I know. I was thinking. I'd be mad if one of the kids was like, listening to music. I almost wanted to be like, okay, first of all.
Do you not talk to your family? Like, that was my first question.
Yeah, I was like, maybe they started talking. And he was like, hey, listen to this.
Yeah. That's so weird to me. But also, there's some people who, like, eat dinner in front of the TV and, like, don't even talk to each other. So, like, it wouldn't even matter.
Yeah, everybody's different, man. But, it was weird to hear that, for sure. Because you're just like, what? Why?
Yeah.
My initial reaction was like, what?
By the way,
did you guys make fun of it? Because like, why else would you, like?
You just want to try it out.
And they're like, no.
Well, I mean, that's what I was gonna say. Is I have not gotten any. The only negative feedback that I've gotten about this podcast. The only negative feedback that I've gotten is that I haven't name dropped.
Oh my god! He told me about this. Okay.
The only negative feedback I've gotten is from this person who demands to be name dropped.
Who's the person?
Fuck her. No. It's Matt's girlfriend. My buddy Matt's girlfriend. Who the only negative feedback I've gotten is a personal friend who's she's like, I listened to every episode and I was hoping the whole time you told the story of your first date with your fiance. I was there. You didn't name drop me then. And then, my girlfriend's fucking cousin's boyfriend, you meet him the day before and then you drop him. You name him in the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I'm never gonna name drop her. That's I'm never name dropping.
Oh my god,
it's way funnier to me to never name.
You know, when we were talking on the phone and you were telling me this story, and when we got off the phone, I literally thought that I was like, I hope he never does, because how funny would it be?
Never gonna name drop her.
Just every time she sees you, like just getting just a little more furious about you.
I'm never gonna name drop her. So anyway, Matt's girlfriend.
Hi, Matt's girlfriend. I hope you're listening.
We were at a function.
Yeah.
And Matt and his girlfriend were both talking about how close they lived to the function. They're like, we don't even have to go 30 miles an hour to get home. And we're all getting sauced up and loose, and we're laughing and drunk. And they're like, I can take back roads. I don't even have to hit a main road. I don't have to go through a light, blah, blah, blah. I'm a mile and a half away from my house. And they're almost being like arrogant about being drunk.
Yeah.
And we're like, man, just stay here. Or like someone, there's a couple people who don't drink here. Like, just, we'll get you a ride home. They're like, we're fine. We just have to shoot over a couple of blocks and we'll be home or whatever. So we're sitting, it's like fucking 20 degrees up, but we're sitting on the back patio by like propane heaters.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, we're going to get going. And we're like, are you sure? Like, dude, Matt's girlfriend, it's so funny to call her Matt's girlfriend. It's so calling her name.
Yeah. Whenever I meet her, if and when I meet her, I guess I met her before, but if I meet her again, I'm digging. Hi, Matt's girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm going to not call her by name.
So Matt's girlfriend, she goes, she couldn't think of the word St. Patrick's Day. We were talking about 75 hard challenge, which, by the way, I have fucking completely fallen off of. It's too much to keep up with. So just some accountability, I've fallen off the 75 hard challenge. I got engaged. Quick derailment. The first day that I missed was like day 15 or 16 or something. It was the day me and Paige got engaged. Yeah. So we went out and celebrated. I didn't have time to work out for an hour and a half. Just whatever.
No, that's fair.
And then it was like, whatever. Fuck this 75 hard challenge.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You take one day and you're just like, that's fine. I don't need it.
Yeah. Well, because if you miss any days, you have to start over. So I was like, fuck you. I'm not starting over at 1. So anyway, I'm talking to Matt's girlfriend about I'm talking to Matt's girlfriend about the 75 hard challenge, and she's fucking hammered. She's like, what's cool? If you start the 75 hard challenge in January, it ends on January 16th. That's 75 days. I was like, it's not. And she said,
holy cow.
And she's like, no, but what I'm saying is, if you start January 1st, you can be done with your 75 hard challenge for, what is it called? It's like 4th of July for white people. And I was like, are you talking about St. Patrick's Day? You're talking about St. Patrick's Day? You just called it 4th of July for white people. And she was, dude, Matt's girlfriend was fucking hammered. And
like
then
4th of July for white.
it's
That's
like
funny.
4th
It's
of
funny,
July
but
for
it
white.
makes no sense.
I know, but somehow I understood what she was saying.
That's crazy. You understood that. Yeah.
She's like, it's like 4th of July for white people. So, So she was like excited because you're not supposed to drink during the 75 hard. So you do from January to St. Patrick's Day, 75 hard, working out twice a day, no drinking, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, cut to like 25 minutes later, Matt's girlfriend and Matt are like, all right, we're gonna we're gonna get going. We have 2 cars here. You're gonna drive so and so's car home, and then I'll drive our car home and whatever. So it's like midnight on Saturday.
Yeah.
She goes to back out and like wait for Matt's girlfriend backs out to wait for Matt to back out, and then they're gonna follow each other home. When she goes to, we're sitting on the back patio. All we hear is boom. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it sounds like people are screaming out there.
Yeah.
And like, oh, it's probably, Matt's girlfriend and Matt like dicking around,
Yeah.
Matt's girlfriend comes up the driveway.
Yeah.
And she's fucking like hysterically crying. She's like, I'm going to fucking jail. We're like, what just happened? She's like, I just crashed into an Amazon worker. We're like, it's like midnight.
Oh my God.
We're like, are you fucking serious? Oh my God, what are you doing?
Right.
And she's like, I'm going to jail. I'm going to fucking jail. We're like, relax.
Yeah.
You're not going to jail. What happened? And she's like, the fucking Matt's girlfriend goes, the Amazon worker parked like blocking the driveway.
Yeah.
To go to like a different house to drop some. It's like midnight. Who the fuck is looking for a truck?
Yeah.
And so she backs up. She couldn't see the lights or anything. She's fucking boom right into the passenger door.
Yeah.
And she's, looking forward to 4th of July for white people. So like she's fucking obliterated.
Yeah.
And we're like, and we were all like trying to talk her out of leaving, but it's also like, you're a fucking adult. I'm not gonna hold you down,
Sure.
But she comes back. I'm going to jail. And then the Amazon driver was driving their personal vehicle to drop off packages.
Yeah.
So they're like, dude, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with my job and the police.
Yeah.
Like, let's just exchange information and we'll go through insurance in the morning.
Right.
So that's what ended up happening. But what's funny though is like 15 minutes before that, she was like, I can't tell you how mad I am that I cleaned my whole house listening to you and your brother fucking argue about whether or not he should do fucking videos on Instagram for 2 fucking hours. And she's like, in that podcast, you guys talk about your first date with Paige, and I was fucking there, and you never say my name. So anyway, Matt's girlfriend did not go to jail.
Yeah.
Despite her absolute, she should have. But she didn't.
Yeah, she lucked out. That's good. Luckily, no one was hurt. It wasn't serious.
No, it wasn't serious. No one got hurt. The door got dented. Her car was fine.
Yeah.
The Amazon worker was being cool as fuck about it because she's like, I don't want to deal with my work fucking causing a problem. Let's just exchange information.
Yeah.
You just got to you got to pay for my door to get fixed before I turn my lease in. So she got super lucky, but it was so funny that she's like, you met my boyfriend at your Halloween party. You've known him for an hour. You've known me for years.
Yeah.
And you won't name drop me on the podcast, but you say, oh yeah, my girlfriend's cousin's boyfriend, Matt.
Why does she want to be name dropped so bad? Why does she care? It's weird.
I don't give a fuck. I'm never name dropping her.
You should.
She is Matt's girlfriend until they're not together. Then she's my girlfriend's cousin friend. And then when she's in another relationship, she'll be that guy's girlfriend. She'll never be. I'm never name dropping her ever because that's way funnier to me.
It is funny.
Oh, man. You've never name dropped me. I listen to you 2 fucking idiots argue for 2 hours. No, for 2 hours, I clean my house and listen to you 2 dipshits argue. But then you tell the story where I was there.
Yeah.
And you never say my name.
Yep. That's funny, man.
She's hilarious. You would like her.
Yeah.
You'd like her a lot.
I wish I remember which one it was. I can't remember. I can't remember. I've met a couple of people from
When we had a
Page's
party when me and Paige first started dating, and you came along, and then we ended up at like the Legion. She was not at that one. She was.
Yeah. I know. I remember. I know the people that were there. Yeah. Because I still randomly see them at parties and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Oh, yeah. I'll meet her one day.
Yeah.
Matt's
meet Matt's girlfriend.
I'll meet Matt's girlfriend one day.
By the way, did you see the invite for the next party we're doing?
Maybe. I don't remember.
RCs and IPAs.
Oh, yeah. When is that again?
End of February.
End of February?
Dude, okay. So we're doing... Did you read what we're doing?
I think I said I was going. I don't know what we're doing, though.
RCs and IPAs is the party name. What we're doing is we're scooting all of the furniture in my house fucking outward.
Okay.
And we're painters taping...
A track?
RC tracks throughout the house.
Oh, man.
And
that'd be fun.
It's $10 buy-in. Okay, to come to the party. Hold on. Take the kettle off the heat.
Oh,
it's a $10 buy-in.
This is ridiculous.
Okay, $10 buy-in.
Yeah.
It's a bracket style tournament.
It sounds fun.
It's $10 buy-in.
Hey, what day does that fall on? Do you know?
I don't know, Saturday probably.
Okay.
Friday or Saturday. But so it's a $10 buy-in.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a tournament bracket where it's one-on-one races.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna tape it. We're taping tracks onto our wood floors inside our house.
Yeah.
Everyone has to bring like a 6-pack of IPAs or some kind of small batch beer to pass.
Okay.
And it's a $10 buy-in to get into the tournament. But we have RC cars for everybody to use.
Nice.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna have this tournament where everyone races one-on-one, one at a time, and that winner moves on. Winner take all until the last 2 race. That winner takes the whole pot, which is gonna be over $100.
Yeah.
So it's
that sounds fun.
RCs and
that's cool.
RCs and IPAs.
I like
that's
it.
our fucking. That's what I'm doing. Is I think instead of birthday parties, we're doing this RCs and IPAs party.
That's gonna be fun.
And we got RC cars, so you can fucking pick your poison, pick whatever RC car you want, and then.
Yeah, but like, what if they're all different? What if they're like all different speeds?
We have 2 RC cars that are exactly the same.
Yeah.
The rest of them are all different.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what you want, or if you want to bring like not Matt's girlfriend, Matt.
Yeah.
Matt's girlfriend's boyfriend, Matt. It said they're coming, and he said he's gonna bring. I think he's gonna bring his own RC car, but I wanted to say to him like, dude, don't bring like a Traxxas fucking 40 mile an hour like RC car.
He's gonna bring some like modded out.
Yeah, don't bring some like fucking 2-stroke engine.
Right.
Like, something that revs to
It'd be funny
10,000
though.
RPM.
It'd be super funny if he did though.
I'd be like, damn, hey, Matt's girlfriend. Dude, Matt's RC car's pretty good.
I think the trick's going to be to make the track complicated enough that, like, if you are going too fast, you're good. Like, you go outside the lines, you're disqualified.
I don't know about outside the lines. I think, I don't know.
We'll have to figure it out because I think it's gonna have to. You're gonna have some rules because, like, if that's gonna happen,
yeah, you can't just be slamming into my doors and shit and into my furniture. You gotta. Yeah. Me and the kids made like a mock small track just to see how it would work.
Yeah.
So like my living room, and there's a hallway going out of my living room that goes to their rooms. 3 bedrooms back there, so you have to get past the wall by the bathroom to turn around. So like we drew, like put tape across the floor there. So it's not a perfect like 180 degree turn. It's just you got to get past that line and turn around. So,
okay.
And then come back. And then there was an obstacle to the left and to the right that you got to go counterclockwise around.
Yeah.
So it wasn't exactly like drawn tracks. It was like, here's the obstacles. You have to get down there, turn around, come back, turn left around this obstacle, turn left around this obstacle, and cross this line. Like that was the whole track. And we did that for a couple hours. It was a blast, dude. It was really fun.
That sounds like fun.
But
you mix drink into it, that's gonna be even more fun.
Yeah. Yeah, to have a bunch of adults fucking waging money on a fucking bunch of RC car
like
races.
dollar bills and cigarettes and like visors, like from the 30s. Like, come on, what are you doing?
Visors, like the green.
Yeah, I don't know why. I was thinking like poker, like the poker
isn't
visor.
Isn't that like an accountant thing wearing the green visor?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking.
That's funny though.
It reminds me of like
Ching.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, dude, that's gonna be. I'm excited about that party, and Matt's girlfriend's gonna be there. So
yeah, that's exciting. All right, cool, man. How long are we into this? I gotta
an hour and 40 minutes.
That's
what time
it?
is it?
It's 5. I gotta get going soon.
I don't have my watch on me. I just looked at my wrist, my bare
5
wrist.
o'clock. I should probably get going to work.
Yeah,
I gotta
I've been
go
here all day. So, all right, well,
yeah,
cool. Hopefully, I'll have more stories about Matt's girlfriend for the next episode.
Yeah, you guys like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
All that stuff.
All the fun stuff, or at least just follow and listen.
Yeah.
If you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I gotta get going.
Peace.
Later.
But a lot of people, that's their story. Good times, noodle salad.